This is incredibly painful. I started uploading my complaints to YouTube, and this is what happened. This is me uploading my video to YouTube. This is a full-out Nazi attack and response. Have you ever seen something like this before? It really hurts. When this stuff hits you, it hurts. These are full all-out attacks. You can just hear them. Like a bunch of degenerate morons. I haven't even left my house. I just uploaded the letter from the Bundeskriminalamt. It is now the 30th of November, 4:30, and they've ramped up the attacks to be non-stop. Ow, this is brutal. Because they also shoot you in the thyroid, literally from every angle. So it's a bit better here. Can you see the difference? They just shoot at you like a bunch of degenerates. Ow, 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 ow. Ow. Oh no. Sorry, I have to take one of these military grade protection panels and do this, basically. So this is now better. They're still shooting at me, but it is actually a lot less intense here. So you can see the intensity here only jumps up to 1. Whereas if it's here, it jumps up to 6. Did you see that? And now they stopped. As soon as I take this off, they'll start assaulting me again. So this is what the military grade weapon assault looks like. Can you see that? That's the end of the assault. The end of the assault. Why did they stop? Because they can see me. And if I use this, then this actually reflects. This actually reflects the attack waves back. So they stopped. You can see it's now really... Oh, okay, there's some shots. Ah, they're still trying. They're trying some shots. But it's nothing like before. Can you see that? Now, sorry, just so that I can speak to you, I'll switch this off, even though I do. So, because there's so much aluminium around me, I actually do get back reflections, so I do get shot at from other directions. But, so, basically I have to make my video like this now, okay? So what happened is that I've just made one video where I showed you the Bundeskriminalamt letter and how it was sent back. Now these degenerates monitor my internet. You do know the Snoopers Charter, right? So GCHQ monitors my internet and the BND and the NDB. So the Swiss and the German and the intelligence agencies are one crime cartel. Okay, it doesn't matter what European country you're in. They're all one. And now you saw an actual live attack. It's extremely brutal. These are military-grade weapons. You saw how they just turned it on and they just held it. They just fire at you. They can use everything. Satellites, transmitters placed down in houses, anything. And you now saw a live attack. Now these panels, I've made myself. I would say they're kind of military-grade protection. And as you saw, they did stop because through radar they can see I have this up. So there's no freaking point shooting at me because it just reflects back. You know what I mean? Still jumps around, but not all the way to the top. Or does it? I mean, the odd shot you still get, because first of all, I'm not actually holding it at the right angle. And second of all, they will just shoot at the aluminium around me and you'll get back reflection. But what this is essentially, when I had to start building protection, I had to use the materials that were cheap and around me. So we'd moved in and I'd used moving boxes and I wrapped them in alufoil. But I also discovered from experience that the best thing to do, oh sorry, they do actually shoot. They have just shot at this wall. So I've got a protective bunker around me and they shoot at the wall and then it hits me on the side of the head, which is why I have to sit like that basically. And I found out from experience that if you want to have protection, you have to wrap the moving boxes such that it's about 6 layers of aluminium each side. And then 12 layers of aluminium is impossible to punch through for these military lasers. So 12 layers of alufoil is solid. And that's what I did. So I'm surrounded by military grade shielding to sit in my own office. To sit in my own home, in my own office, because the degenerates at MI6 and MI5 and at the BND and the NDB, so the NDB is the Nachrichtendienst des Bundes, they are degenerate psychopaths. Okay, if you look at the total record of what these people did, and you can see what they're doing now, right? I mean, these people are assaulting defenseless women in their own home, and that's called military intelligence. They are assaulting their own scientists, and it's called military intelligence? Yeah? I mean, something has gone really, really wrong in these people's heads. Maybe it's a bit too much pedophilia and Satanism, you know, too many child sacrifices and taking drugs at the same time, or whatever the hell these people are doing. But these people's brains are gone. So you just saw, what I did is I made a video and I explained about this letter I'd sent to the Bundeskriminalamt, and I have just uploaded it and clicked publish. And I was assaulted live. That's what the Snoopers Charter means, my dears. It means you can't even get your message out after the Swiss Staatsanwaltschaft has ignored you, the Swiss police has ignored you, the German police just returned your letter so that it doesn't even enter your file, and the UK police, when I reported a physical attack on me, as I attended Dr. Stephen Frost's tribunal hearing in Manchester, the Manchester police staged intimidation theatre. I was at the police station. I was not allowed to talk to a police officer. I was sent back home by the receptionist after a 20-minute wait, after I explained what I would like to report. But it was a very brief encounter, and I was sent back to my hotel, and I was told, yes, a police officer's gonna come later. And I naively thought, oh, that's probably because I'm being attacked in the hotel room, so they want to have, you know, they want to actually check up on the hotel room. No, I waited for over an hour, and then it was getting late. It was 10:30 p.m., and I called again the police station, the very police station. You know, first you get a number, you get through to the central police phone line, and I asked to be put through to the police station at Ashton-under-Lyne, which is where I reported the assault, or tried to. But I only spoke to the receptionist. And when I called Ashton-under-Lyne police station, I asked them, please, I have to attend a court hearing tomorrow. I really would like to go to bed. I'm exhausted. I've spent the entire day at court, you know, attending a court hearing. I really need sleep. Is the police officer going to come that night, or can I go to bed? And I was told, no, you can go to bed. Well, this was at 10:30 p.m. At 20 minutes to midnight, someone knocked at my hotel room and demanded to be given entry. A man. And this man, I went to the door and I said, excuse me, who are you? And this man said, I'm from the ambulance service. Can I come in? Well, if you're a woman on your own and you're in a hotel without reception staff at night, the answer is no. Of course. I didn't call an ambulance. But I, spent an entire day at the employment tribunal. I'd spoken to Dr. Stephen Frost. I'd spoken to his lawyers. I'd spoken to journalists there. I came back and then I went to report the crime. I'd spoken to the receptionist. Then I'm sent home, and after all this, supposedly I need an ambulance 2 hours later, when I've just told the police I really would like to go to sleep and get some rest. I don't think so. So at first I literally thought that's a man trying to gain entrance so that I open the door and say, oh, I'm sorry, you must have had the wrong door. And then I get raped or robbed or whatever. So I said, no, you can't come in, goodbye. So then, 20 minutes later, knock again. And this time it was the police, demanding that I open the door to let in the ambulance staff. Because they were concerned about my mental health. That was very interesting, because when I was in the police station, no one was concerned about my mental health. If I really need an ambulance, it's that urgent to call out an ambulance, surely the best thing to do is to keep me in the police station, no? Instead of send me off into the night at 9:30 p.m. Make me climb back into my car, drive off into the night, be on my own in a hotel room for a couple of hours to then call an ambulance? I don't think so. So what happened? What happened? Because surely, if someone is so concerned about my mental health, based on what the receptionist has just briefly described, surely a police officer would actually want to talk to me himself, no? See me personally, if they're that concerned. But of course, if a police officer talks to me, he actually has to write something down. And it shouldn't enter the file. So I'm very curious to see what entered their file, because I've got the entire scene recorded. I told the police officers, you can come in, but I will film the entire interaction. And they said, yes, it's fine, we're filming too. Well, so I told them I had 2 police staff and 2 ambulance staff, and I said, what the hell is this? And they didn't even know why they were there. I said, I've reported attacks with microwave weapons on me last night. Do you know what microwave weapons are? And all of them shook their head. No. So there I was, explaining it to them with my measuring device, showing the frequencies I could measure coming from the next room, next door. And that was it. That's intimidation theater. Because logically, it doesn't make a sweet bit of sense. So look at this. This is now the 21st century. After the German police sends back my letter, the English police stages intimidation theater of the most cack-handed and backward way. It was ridiculous. Mental health. Really? You've just discredited yourself, you morons. Because if a woman is a mental health emergency, you do not send her off into the night driving her car back on the motorway, do you? So it doesn't make much sense, does it now? So this is what's happening. This is the reality. That victims are desperate to get through. And if they try to get through, they get physically assaulted. Because what I've just showed you, the attacks, maybe they stopped now. So you have to wait. You have to see if you're okay. I'm kind of okay. Much better than it was, hey? And then literally like an animal, you come out from your, I mean, there are some shots, they basically never stop. But it's, oops. You have to get back. You have to get back because these degenerate Nazis keep firing. So I've taken off the shielding. And here you have it. So they assault you to death. Can you see? This is the IP bill. This is the IP bill. All of your emails, your YouTube and everything will be pulled. But what no one told you, it's being pulled by the criminal cartel. They will use this to take you out. Do you understand? This is it. So I have to sit now and make this video like that. Here it's okay now, isn't it? So the occasional shot. But if I put it out here, it should go absolutely crazy. And this is brutal. So we're talking proper military weapons grade. This is, you can send a letter to Mr. Alex Younger at MI6, at SIS, the Secret Intelligence Service, who by now is not secret, it's quite public, certainly has nothing to do with intelligence, and is the last thing but a service. And say, Mr. Alex Younger, is that what MI6 does these days? Assault women abroad in their own home? It's interesting, isn't it? These assaults. And the BND assaults. By the way, I did email the BND because I had to. I was also attacked in Germany. And I think, as I understood it at the time, according to law, I have to notify the other party before starting an action. So I wanted to notify everybody. I had submitted a complaint to the IPT that notifies MI5, MI6. And I had emailed the BND because they also have assaulted me at the instigation of MI5 and MI6. So I sent an email to the BND and I'd submitted a complaint to the Investigatory Powers Tribunal, and subsequently I was physically attacked on a flight to Spain, and that it was a holiday, a weekend trip with my family, and they on the holiday or during that weekend kept assaulting me at night in the hotel room from below. There was a public bar below the flat. And they crippled my right hip, basically. They didn't demolish it completely, but it was so painful, I could barely walk. And that's what they did, just shoot at the same point over and over. And I was microwaved to the back of my head on the flight, intense pain to the back of my head. And at the same time, a guy sitting in the seat behind me said, Schmerzen am Hinterkopf. So intense, pain on the back of the head. He just happened to say that as I felt pain on the back of the head, coming, funnily enough, from his direction. So I turned around and he quickly put something away. And I looked around, there was two young chaps and an older woman sitting in that seat. So classic handler and two teenage, trainee Hitler youth spies. And after this assault, I'd emailed the BND again, and I said, how can it be that I ask you to cease and desist, and this happens on the flight? And then I was microwaved on the hip throughout this entire weekend. And on the flight back, the same young man turned up. My husband saw the entire thing. He was there in the security queue, was monkeying around, kept walking up and down in front of me in the waiting hall, and in the queuing to boarding, he was so close and kept pushing his bag towards my legs that I once stumbled over a suitcase. And then he sat again in the row behind me and my husband. And then I tried to actually photograph him, but my phone battery went dead. And then I just put my phone away, and then my leg was knocked by the lady sitting next to me in the seat. And when I looked over to her, on her phone, she had a phone, and on the screen was a photograph of my father smiling at somebody in the actual cabin of an airplane. And he was wearing the same t-shirt that he wore on the day he flew out to join us in Spain. So that's the sort of bullshit the BND does. Isn't it degenerate? Isn't it criminal? Isn't it criminal that here in Europe, our proud so-called military intelligence, these proud semi-soldiers, are assaulting women in their own home? It's like this. I mean, I'm a physicist, I'm a high-energy physicist, I can figure this out, I can find out how to protect myself. But why do I need to? In my own four walls. Because of these degenerates. And this stuff is coming now from above. And I'm pretty sure, and I can show you why, because I do have military grade shielding all around me already. And this is my head height, by the way, so that shielding panel that looks low is not actually that low, it's above my head height. And from that side, where I actually go through, I can't be shot on the head on the right hand side, like here. And you saw the attacks. So this is the reality. This is why I fled to the High Court, desperately begging for an emergency injunction, because these people maim you and murder you in your own home, using military microwave weapons, these degenerate idiots. And these degenerate idiots are being run by Alex Younger. He has got ultimate responsibility. And Andrew Parker. It's not a mystery who's running these degenerates. Because only MI5 has got the right to run around like that. And how could it be that I've never been to Manchester, I haven't lived in Manchester, I was just there for a court case, yet within 10-15 minutes, Greater Manchester Police knew how to pull off intimidation theatre. Who made that phone call? Who made that phone call? Who could it have been? It could have only been MI5, who already shot me in the head after my first High Court hearing, when I asked for an emergency injunction. I was shot in the back of the head with military microwave guns. And this is now it. I now have to go public because the court didn't grant me an injunction. The Swiss police has refused to investigate. The German police has refused to investigate and is committing essentially Aktenbetrug or Fälschung, falsifying of files. And the UK police is staging intimidation theatre. And the UK newspapers refuse to report on this. Will you report maybe? Will you perhaps send a text to these people and ask? Send it to anybody. Send it to literally, GCHQ have got a Twitter account. Ask them what the fuck this is. Ask any of the others, the newspapers, the Guardian, the Private Eye, the Telegraph, the Independent. Tweet to them and ask, is this what the 21st century looks like? You degenerates? Is that it? Is this how? Because this is a death camp. This is a concentration camp. And I haven't even told you about the microwave beams that just follow me around the house. Because at 3 or 4 points around my home, they have corrupted neighbors to place these bloody transmitters. They are steered, centrally steered by computer software. And I believe an AI system to just assault people to death in their own home. And now you saw the attacks themselves. And they are continuing, by the way, but I want to talk to you, to your face now without shielding. Will you finally stand up? Or are you men? Because most of these people up in power are men. Do you really lack the bollocks that much that women and children are left to fight for their own life? You degenerates? What's wrong with you all? What the fuck is wrong with you all? I have contacted all of you ages ago, and you couldn't even be bothered to Google yourself. So here's the evidence now, publicly. And you can see the attacks again. So, it's quite a show actually. Stopped again. And I can show you how interactive it is by putting this down. And now it starts up again. So I'm now on the extermination program. Do you understand? This is what pre-crime means. Here you can keep seeing the shots. I just don't want to, you know. This is extremely painful. Having military lasers shot through your brain. The beeping is the targeting. It goes dude and then that's what you just heard. This is our own militaries and military intelligence. Sorry, it's not the military. I don't think the army or has anything to do with it. Maybe this is military intelligence. This is those limp-wristed Nancy boys from public school doing this. Look at how amazing they are. Our proud European militaries and are so degenerate and so-called military intelligence, they even assault their own scientists. The Russians and the Chinese must be wetting themselves from laughter. How degenerate can you gentlemen be? How fucking degenerate can you all be? Is that what you all do? Just fuck children and take drugs? Because if so, we're in deep trouble here. If you're that degenerate that you can't even tell your own population apart from the enemy. I'm not out there to fight fucking MI6 or MI5. I don't give a damn about them. They are attacking me, these morons. And what am I meant to do? Apart from go to the High Court and ask for an injunction. What the hell is one meant to do, you degenerates? And by the way, we went to the same university. You degenerate monkeys. Some of us actually went to the same university. So what the hell happened to you since you left Oxford that you've so lost your fucking mind? What the fuck happened to you? Maybe you stop fucking children and taking drugs and actually do something for the real national security. And you know what the biggest contribution to national security would be, ironically? If you stopped assaulting your own population. You degenerates. That's all I hear. Literally, ever since I went to the UK, the only thing I know about military intelligence, so-called, is that they run paedophile clubs. Because that's the only thing I read about in the paper that's credible. So what the flying fuck are you all doing?